Doctor. My name is ADELINE with meeting number 286-476. Our Group 5 are going to present the business case study on BISTRO. First and foremost, I would like to explain about the background of the BISTRO. The BISTRO is located at Rasa Food Court, VARSITY Mall, YIUNG. The main business of BISTRO is to sell the Western foods such as beef chops, chicken chop, beef stick, lamb chop, burger, and spaghetti. The BISTRO just opened for a week in YIUNG. The owner of the BISTRO is Angel Muhammad Khairul. Since the BISTRO just started the business, so it just had 2 chefs, 5 part-timers, and 3 cashiers only in the business. Next, let's move to the source documents that involved in the cash receipt system. One of the source documents that involved in the cash receipt system is order receipt. Order receipt is a document that indicates that the order has been received by the business that is responsible for completing it and contain information about the specific of the order itself. The law of order receipts in a cash receipt system is as the evidence of every sale transaction that occurs in the business. The order receipt is filed for the purpose of business bookkeeping. Besides, the daily sale report also is the document that is involved in the cash receipt system. A daily sale report is a type of sale tool that provides a summary of all the sale activity that took place in the organization throughout the day. A daily sale report can help the business to obtain insight by highlighting the sales process, bottlenecks, and gaps. The law of the daily sale report in the cash receipt system is to serve as a virtual for reconciliation with the accounting book.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is AIDA ZAKIRAH binti ASRI and my matric number is 284199. So I will continue to talk about the table of entities and activities of the cash receipt system in the BISTRO. From the interview, we get some information that we get complete in order to complete the cash receipt system. There are 6 entities in the system which are customer, workers who is the cashier, computer as the system, worker who is the owner known as Mr. Khairul, bank, and general ledger. Firstly, the system starts with customer makes a payment of their orders. Then, the worker who is the cashier will endorse the payment and prepares a batch total of payment. After that, he or she will send a batch of checks to the Mr. Khairul and at the same time, key in the batch total, the customer number, the amount paid, and the check number into computer. After the keying process, the computer system will verify and log events. After that, the deposit slip will print and send to Mr. Khairul, who is the owner's responsibility to compare the deposit slip with the batch of checks. Then, he will take the deposit slip and check into the bank. At the same time, the computer system will prepare batch totals of all cash receipt transactions and post them automatically to the respective control accounts in digital general ledger. This process will be repeated every day based on the information that given by Mr. Khairul.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Alia Sadiah binti MOKHTAFIZAM and my matric number is 284375. Next slide is context diagram. It identifies the flow of information between the system and external entities. The entire software system is shown as a single process. Based on the context diagram here, we prepare the following diagram for cash receipt system. It starts with the customer made a payment and come to the cash receipt system. From the cash receipt system, the batch total of receipts will be produced and moved to the general ledger. The deposits from the cash receipt systems will be sent to the bank.
Next, I will continue with the physical data flow diagram or physical DFD which is a graphical representation of a system showing the system internal and external entities and the flows of data into and out of these entities. For backyard bistro's cash receipt system, there are three internal bubbles or processes, which are worker who is a cashier and owner, and computer system, while for external entities there are customer, bank and general ledger. Firstly, the cashier will receive payment from the data source, which is customer, and endorse it in the data store. After that, the batch total, the customer number, the amount paid and the check number will be keyed into the computer system to do transformation processes activities, and at the same time, batch of check will be sent to the owner. Then, the computer will store the data in cash receipt log disk and deposit slip will be transferred to the owner. After the comparison process, the owner will take the deposit slip and checks to the bank, which is data destination. At the same time, the computer system will automatically post all cash receipt transactions to the respective control accounts to data destination known as digital general ledger.
Moving on to the next slide is flowchart. In this flowchart, we have three areas, which are worker cashier, worker owner and the computer system area. It started when the customer gives the cash documents. The cash documents then will be manually processed to endorse cash and prepare batch total of payment before the batch total is transferred to the worker owner area. The batch total is sent to the terminal input. In this terminal input, there will be a process of key in the batch total, the customer number, amount and the check number. From the terminal input, it will be automatically processed by the computer to verify log on cash receipt and data. The cash receipt event data then will be stored in the magnetic disk, sent to the batch total and transferred to the general ledger. The cash receipt event data in the magnetic disk earlier are automatically processed to print the deposit slip and sent to the worker on the back. Both the batch of checks from worker cashier area and deposit slip from computer system area will be manually processed in the worker owner area to compare. After comparison, check and deposit slip documents are transferred to the bank.
Hi doctor, my name is Adeline with metric number 2SC476. Now I would like to continue with my part, which is the strength of internal control procedure. First and foremost, the strength of backyard bistro is accounting record. Backyard bistro has used two methods to perform all of the accounting record. One of the methods is recording the transaction through the computing, which is point of sale POS system. A POS system is a computerized network that includes the central computer, many checkout terminals, and also various hardware elements. Backyard bistro use a modern POS system instead of traditional cash register machine to store money and also process sales transactions. Based on KIRA deal in 2022, the use of the POS system allows backyard to receive payment from the customer and also record the sales transaction. The owner of backyard will review the sales report that generated by the POS system, which contain the daily sale, total sale, and also earning of the sale. The use of POS system can generate more accurate sales report rather than manual sales records. This is because the computer system can prevent any human fraud that always happen when recording transactions manually. At the same time, the owner of backyard bistro also record the sales transaction manually. For example, once the customer make payment, the owner who also act as the accounting bookkeeper will record the journal of the sales in the recurrent accounting book. At the end of each month, the owner will reconcile the accounting book with the sales report that generated by the POS system. According to Kimberly Leonard in 2019, it is important to reconcile the accounting book in order to detect any recording error, fraud, and also get the accurate amount of the transaction. Besides, another strength of backyard bistro is IT control. Based on the interview with the owner of the POOJA store, we found that POOJA store had practiced password control. For example, each cashier or POOJA store had their own login ID and password. Once the cashier start their shift for the day, they need to log into their own account. However, the cashier only had authorized access to a certain POS system which is receiving payment for customer. The password or another POS system like inventory management, supplier order management, return, and also transaction reports are only kept and known by the owner only. In short, this power control is to prevent unauthorized access to the cash receipt data and other confidential data. With the use of IT control, POOJA store can reduce the rate of data theft that can harmful to the restaurant. In addition, POOJA store also has security control. POOJA store has high safety and security measures in order to safeguard the valuable assets, especially cash. In order to prevent employee theft from stealing restaurant cash, the owner of POOJA store has installed 4 CCTV in the restaurant. Besides, the POOJA store also limits the number of cash handling employees. For example, the cashier is only responsible to handle cash when receiving the payment for customer. However, only the owner will handle and hold the cash from daily business to be deposited into the business bank account. All these measures are to prevent internal theft, such as cash larceny and also stealing cash from the cash drawer, and also the rate of lost money. Furthermore, the POOJA store also performs daily cash draw. A cash draw is an amount of cash that removed from the cash drawer and placed in the safety place or sent to the bank for deposit. POOJA store has performed daily cash draw and a cash handling internal control procedure. For example, the owner of the POOJA store will deposit daily business cash into the business bank account every day. This is important to avoid too much cash in hand in the business. According to March exit in 2016, if you delay in making the bank deposit, the more you export your business to the rate of loss, robbery, and also employee abandonment. To reduce the all risk, POOJA store has minimized cash on hand. POOJA store limit cash on hand based on volume or daily cash transaction. Once the restaurant cash arrives at a certain amount, the owner will deposit part of the revenue into the bank account, while the remaining cash will be used on a basis which is to match change with the customer.
Good morning, Doctor. I'm Ashley Lynn Bennett, matrix number 269433, and I will be talking about the weakness in the cash receipt system. Based on our interview with the owner of the Backyard Bistro, we were able to note that there is a weakness in terms of access control. In the case of the Backyard Bistro, the owner mentioned that all of his employees have the passwords needed to open the cash register. This includes the chefs and even the part-time staff. He justified that oftentimes there is not enough staff working to man the cash register, hence the need for the chefs to handle the cash payments, since cash is the main source of transactions he uses in his shop. However, this can be a big problem in the long run, as any of his staff is able to access the cash register at any given point, and it causes an opportunity to commit cash fraud. Furthermore, we noted that there is a lack of supervision and segregation of duties in the bistro. The owner claimed that in addition to being the owner, he also serves as a chef, the bookkeeper, the person who purchases the goods, and the person who operates the cash register. Due to their significant staffing scarcity and high volume of orders, the owner claimed that he spends most of his time in the kitchen assisting the chefs with their food preparation and cooking. As the only managing staff in his organization, his hectic schedule managing the business prevents him from regularly supervising his staff. As there is only one employee working in the front, there is a lack of supervision in the cash register. As a result, there is a chance for fraud to occur because the cash register is accessible to anyone without being detected. Lastly, we found that there is a lack of internal auditing in the business. The owner indicated that he employs a consultant from Alostar on a monthly basis to perform his company's external auditing. Although he employs a competent external auditor to review the accounting records of his company, the owner still conducts his own internal audits. The purpose of an internal audit is to offer value and enhance an organization's operations. It is an impartial, unbiased assurance and consulting activity carried out by a professional. When questioned, the business owner stated that because of this is how he often manages his financial records from his prior business, he is employing the same method for this present restaurant. So that is all from me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pooja, daughter of MANOJ KUMAR, and my matrix number is 284334. Let's talk about risk exposure. Risk exposures are threats to a firm's assets and information quality that happens due to lapses in the firm's controls. Most, if not all, firms are faced with risk exposure, including Backyard Bistro. Firstly, the risk of unauthorized access to cash receipt records. The owner of Backyard Bistro, Encik Khairul, entrusts all of his employees with a password to the cash register and the computer that records all cash receipt transactions, allowing employees to access all stored information such as the cash receipt master files. Dishonest employees could destroy transaction records in order to commit cash receipt fraud. Moving on, the risk of misappropriation of cash receipt funds. Misappropriation is the act of abusing one's position to loot the company's resources for personal gains. According to Encik Khairul, there is only one cashier assigned to the cash register. Since Encik Khairul spends most of his time in the kitchen, it puts the bistro at a risk of employees misusing the funds from the cash register. Lastly, the risk of monetary and non-monetary losses. When companies such as Backyard Bistro do not conduct internal audits before external audits, it leads to undetected frauds and the continuous loss of monetary and non-monetary resources. Lack of internal auditing causes external auditors to detect irregularities that could result in regulatory fines.
Hi everyone, my name is TZYY and my matrix number is 284294. So today I'm going to talk about internal control procedures. Internal control that are relevant to cash receipt transactions protect the company from theft. The small business will benefit from internal control measures designed to guard against staff fraud and accounting mistakes. The cash payment system's primary control goals are to restrict access to cash from certain personnel and ensure that all receipts, refunds, and transfers are properly recorded within 24 hours of the transaction. Any cash withdrawal from the business must be authorized in writing by a manager or a supervisor. The cash receipts of the customer should never be used by the business for petty cash or check cashing. Access control and multi-level security. In the case of Backyard Bistro, based on the weakness of lack of access control, the physical control that can be applied is access control. Prior to making a bank deposit, keep all cash in a safe or locked box. The combination to the safe should only be known by the cash handling clerk or one backup employee. Change the lock or safe combination if one of these personnel quits or is transferred to another employment. Besides that, the bistro can also use IT control such as multi-level security. Multiple users with varying access credential can log in to a central system at once due to multi-level security, which prevents them from accessing data for which they are not authorized. Next, segregations of duties. One of the best strategies to obtain control over the assets of Backyard Bistro is to separate roles while managing cash. In this scenario, Backyard Bistro should let only 1 or 2 people in charge of the main cash. This will make it more difficult for dishonest staff to hide fraudulent transactions when the main cash processing duties are separated. No one has total authority over the handling of money, recording receipts, or reconciling bank accounts. Cash deposit and reconciliation should not be handled by the same person. This also acts as a second check to identify and fix typing typos and bank deposit problems. It might not be practical to divide the accounting responsibility across multiple employees in smaller businesses. In this situation, a supervisor should truly check the reconciliation and cash receipt logs each month to make sure there is no errors. Then is train an internal auditor. Backyard Bistro needs an auditor to look for internal control mechanisms such as records that define accountability for the receipts of cash and completions of bank deposit. A correct daily cash summary and deposit slip requiring daily journal entries that post the amounts received to customer accounts and proper job segregation. A staff from Backyard Bistro should be trained by the Accounting or Finance Department to do an internal audit at least once every 3 months. The majority of workers who successfully embezzle sizable sums of money do so gradually. A dishonest employee may be discouraged from putting together a strategy to deceive his employer and lessen the financial loss with the aid of regular.